Truth is scattered. The seeker gathers.
Yo, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to the show. I'm back. I plan on doing more videos. I'm just giving a recap on what's been going on, why I haven't posted videos in a while. The other camera I was using, somehow, I don't know what happened to it. It just quit working. I've tried everything to get it to work. It wouldn't work. Was going to just do videos with my phone, but the phones just don't. I mean, it can record good, but I wanted to be able to use my full thing, my full setup. So, which I plan on doing like live Q&As from my phone because I'm using Wi-Fi, so it lags trying to stream. So the point of this video, though, is just bring everybody up to par on what's going on and why you haven't seen me lately. If you hear this old chair creaking, yeah, this thing's broken. It's old. Probably got to get some WD-40 for it. But anyway, ADHD mind, squirrel. Okay, so I've been writing. This is actually the fourth book. This is actually my fourth book that I've put together. I had a 700-page manuscript that I took all of my writings from the past 20 years, put them all into one big book, and it was going to be The Seeker's Horizon. And it was going to take, what I was trying to do was take and use some of my creative writing skills with my philosophy and psychology, and I made it way too long, made it to where I was getting lost reading the manuscript myself. I wrote 750 plus pages, and I was like, man, if I'm getting lost while reading my own work, I know you're going to get lost. So I took the manuscript. I still have it. I have it on deck for ideas, but I'm splitting it into multiple books. So this is the fourth book that I've taken from that. This is The Distance Between I and Me. This book is on identity, perception. We have our identity of who we are as like the me. So the me was programmed into us like from our birth. We were born, we're given an identity. This is what we call me. This is the identity of me. Who am I to the community? Who am I to society? Who am I that I've picked up? I was a magnet basically that I've grabbed all these things from school, my family, from books I've read, from anything that what I call me. So like, what music do I like? What reactions do I have to certain things? It's basically the self. It's yourself that is presented to others. But then there is the I, which is the observer that's looking at all of that. So like the subconscious that sees what's going on, interprets it, observes it, and watches. So your identity is beyond just the me, beyond just what is my habits, which when you take a look at your habits and what you're doing in life and how you treat others and how society programmed you to do certain things, if you feel detached from that, but you feel like you have to force yourself to be that me, then it truly isn't you. So you have to look at the I, the subconscious, your talents, your inner self. That's when you got to do the shadow work, the ego, figure out what is underneath of all that conditioning to become truly who you are in life. So the distance between I and me is where agency exists. That's where your choice exists. That's where you have an interface. That's where what you do matters. Like you can make a change happen between the I and the me. So like a situation happens, you got an interval in which you can stop, think, and process. So, but most people, they're just working automatically off of what they've experienced in life. They're working from that perspective of life. They're working from the me. So when you get into your higher self, as you will, you start to be able to observe what's going on with the me. You get to observe from inside the situation. You get to observe, slow down, and you can. There's a field of agency where in that little given moment, that given time, it's like my grandma always told me, stop and think. You need to slow down and think. And that slow down and think part is when you can observe the thoughts, because thoughts ain't even yours. Thoughts are chemical reactions to external stimuli and sometimes internal stimuli, but that internal stimuli itself is in turn formulated from external stimuli. So the question is, who truly am I? Like, what do I bring to the table that's different from anything that has been programmed into me? Which it's very small amount. It's a very small amount, and it goes into genetics and biology, and to me, I see it as my God-given abilities and talents, and my perspective that I've came from taking and doing the math on the external stimuli. So it's not that I really had a play in what happened around me or what experiences or what programming or teaching I've had. It comes down to, what have I internalized that the me has did, and what have the I internalized and put into perspective. So it goes beyond your inherited belief systems, your inherited fundamentals, the things that you've been taught your whole life. Now, not to say that the teachings of your family or school or any of that is wrong. None of it is relatively wrong per se. It's more that you're trying to find, what do you align with. You have to, because what you attend to, what you put your attention and focus on, is what you become. So if say you're forced to have to work in a certain job, find a way to make that job you don't like that job. The job's not what you want to do with life, not what you internally feel you're supposed to be doing. You're going to have to work that job. You're going to have to do the things that you hate to do the things you love to do. But at the same time, work on yourself to bring your I to the me. And within that distance between it is when you get the chance to evaluate and figure out, what am I going to do with my life? So I have a method that I've put together, I guess. However, it's just something. This is how I take when I read things, when I'm studying a subject, when I hear a story or I hear somebody telling me something, to know whether is it false, is it true, what is this knowledge, or is this just something I'm hearing? So it's my epistemology, like, if I'm saying that word right, epistemology. So it's my way of knowing what I know. So it's observe. So I have to observe. So I have to look around and see. So I observe that this is a water bottle. I'm observing the water bottle. I have to analyze it now. Feel it, test it. Yep, that's water. So I've analyzed now. This is a bottle of water, right? So I've analyzed I've analyzed it, and now I know it's true, and I've justified. Well, let me get to that. So the next point is, I observe, I analyze, and then I justify. So I know that I've tested it, I've observed it, I've analyzed it, I've tested it. So now I can justify that this is not soda pop. I can justify it's not a Red Bull. It's not coffee. It's not harmful. It's not gasoline or oil or something. It's water inside the bottle. So I stripped away. I'm not trying to get off track or ramble too fast. Okay, so in justification, Karl Popper put out his system of falsification. So I have to strip away everything that is false from the object to justify that it truly is what it says it is. It's like a bouncy ball. Somebody hands me a ball and they say this is a bouncy ball. Okay, I observe it. It's a ball. I analyze it. I look at it. It's rubber. Okay, now I have to justify. Is this a bouncy ball? I throw it at the wall, and if it bounces, then yes, it was a bouncy ball. If it just falls to the ground, then that was false. It's not a bouncy ball. It's just a ball. So truth is the same way. Yeah, that's a simplified way of saying it, but truth is the same way. Something can sound on paper perfectly true. Everything about it is true until you test it. And then you strip away, you strip away every bit that is false about the subject to find out what is true. And then further, that truth gets placed into action and becomes knowledge. Knowledge you can use later. Knowledge is something that truth is relative to the moment, because truth can change. The bouncy ball could somehow lose its bounce, and then it's no longer a bouncy ball. This water bottle will eventually be empty, and then it'll just be a bottle, not a bottle of water. So truth changes. Knowledge is something you retain for using further. Knowledge is what wisdom is based on, because wisdom is the action of knowledge. So knowledge is knowing truths, being able to know truth, to use that in action to wisdom. And to further, even further, is gnosis. So gnosis is just direct self-evident knowledge. It's unexplainable. You just know. You just know this thing is true. And maybe your truth is a little different from the person next to you, but yeah, not to say that, like, oh man, there's a dragon standing right here behind me. I can't tell somebody there's a dragon standing behind me. Maybe in my imagination or in some other dimension of my mind, there is a dragon, but I'm not going to go around and tell a guy, hey man, look, there's a dragon behind me. There has to be some kind of empirical evidence for the gnosis. That's just how I've come to find it. The gnosis, like knowing what I'm supposed to do in life, is self-evident. I know that given my talents and everything that I've had in my life, that I've experienced, and my revelation led me to my gnosis that I'm a philosopher. As you would say, as people would say, is like, I'm a self-declared philosopher, or what somebody called me that. But at any rate, I study knowledge, and I study human mechanics. I study how the human brain works. I try to understand how biology has to play into the roles of life. How does the universe cooperate with our existence? I study a lot on what is existence, what is your awareness of it. So it comes down to me understanding our existences. What are we aware of? What is our perception? And what we attend to is what we become. So I know that's my purpose, is to tell you guys these things and the stuff that goes on in my head, because why else would I be thinking these things? Why else would, for my whole life, I've wanted to study religion, culture, philosophy, psychology, science? Why would I want to study these hard things for no reason? I was given a gift and a talent and a way that it feels this is what my God-given purpose is in life, is to study behavior and study perception and help other people to become aware of who they are. So that's why I'm working on this podcast. I'm working on these books. That's why I coach wrestling. That's another big thing why videos have been not posted, is wrestling season took a lot out of us. I won't go too deep into all of that because that's beyond the podcast, but that's something that happened in my life that caused me to have to put the podcasting aside for the moment. But yeah, so yeah, I've been thinking deep, guys. I've been thinking real deep, and I don't want to run on and on and on and on and on and on right now about everything. I just wanted to give a recap on what's been going on, where my mind has been at. I plan on trying to get a video done once or twice a week. We'll see what happens. I've been studying a lot. So a lot of my time has been focused on reading books, writing down my thoughts. Read a book, sit down, think. When weather's getting nice, so I'm going to start hitting the trails and walking and getting out and getting active, lose some of this weight I gained over the winter. Getting fat over here, guys. But yeah, I hope you guys stay for the long run. It's going to get a lot better. I didn't write any notes for this. I literally spent the past 3 hours trying to get this camera to work. It literally took me forever because I don't have a USB 3.0 on this laptop. This laptop's mainly for like writing and surfing the web. It's not really for video recording. So I had to play with the settings. I had to set all this stuff up and get the audio to work as good as I could with this mic. So the videos, as I've always promised, are going to just get better and better over time. And as I need to get in front of the camera more so I get better, train myself in how to do this. It's real hard when I'm talking to a camera that's staring at me, and not another person. I lose track a lot because I don't have somebody to bounce ideas off of. But I really am working on trying to get that better. I know I ramble on at the end of all these and tell you how much better I'm going to get, and then I still ramble on about how much better I'm going to get. I'm sorry about that, but I promise the next video I'm going to make a cue. I'm going to write it on my table on a paper. Don't ramble about how good you're going to get. Just make it better. But my books are not available for sale yet. I'm working on going back through all of them and making them as best quality as I can. I don't have funds for an editor, but I'm learning editing skills. I'm watching a lot of videos. I grabbed some books on editing from the library, and I've read a ton of books. So I know how books are supposed to be. When I write my books, I write out all my thoughts. I write out an outline of what I want each chapter to be. I try to figure out how many chapters. Sometimes I add or subtract chapters after I'm done. But I write out my outline. This is what this book's going to be about. This is what I want to talk about. And then it's just like how I am right now. I ramble onto paper. And I ramble it out. And then I type out. I type it all out. Then I use Grammarly. Check my grammar. A lot of times the freaking stupid AI assist with Grammarly it'll tell me to change things I'm not going to change. So if it looks kind of messed up when you read my book in some spots, maybe I should have changed it, but it just sounded good how I wrote it. So I'm going to leave it how it is. Literally spent all this time taking 15 years of work and splitting it into 4 different books, which is not even all of the work. This is just 4 different perspectives on my philosophy. I'm planning on writing some novels. I plan on writing short story anthologies. I plan on writing a poetry book at some point, but which I already got the poems. I just had to figure out which of my thousands of poems I've written over the years I want to put out there for the public. Probably do an anthology of my essays. A lot of work before I pass away, before I go, which that shouldn't be anytime soon. I'm trying to take care of myself. I'm changing, doing healthy things, try to stay here as long as I can so I can give the world what I have internalized and what I have come to know, and hopefully help people to make changes in their life that they can live a better life than what they're living. And if you're living a great life, maybe I can help you with your perspective and able to help other people, because even at the top, we had to keep going. Schopenhauer said it, we just keep desiring more, desiring more. Well, maybe at some time at the top, we stop desiring for ourselves and we desire for others so we can help other people. It doesn't always have to be for the self. Don't be so selfish. If I ever get rich, I'm going to help my community. If I ever get enough money to do the things that I think about in my head, like buy a gym, a community center, start a men's ministry, the things that it takes funds that I don't have. If I ever get to that top, that's what I'm going to do with the money. I'm not thinking of myself because I'm not a selfish person. I'm trying to help others. And that's what I'm doing with these videos. All right, I'm not going to ramble on anymore. Please like, subscribe, share, drop comments. Please, everybody, drop a comment. It takes a few seconds. Drop a comment. Let me know how you're doing. Just even if it's, how are you doing? If you're watching this video and something popped in your head, or you have a suggestion for me, drop it in the comments. Let's conversate a little bit. If you made it this far through my rambling, thank you. But just know that, like I've been saying, I'm going to get a lot better at doing these videos. This was literally, I was sitting there thinking, and I'm like, hey, I'm about to try to get this new camera to work. Paid a lot of money for this camera for it not to work. I've been trying to get it to work for a long time. Then I realized when I did a little research that I have to have a USB 3.0. So I've had this camera just sitting here for a few years and not using it. Now I know, so I had to play with the settings and I had to do a whole lot. All right, I don't want to ramble on. Subscribe, like, share, tell people about me. I'm trying to make a difference in the world, and the only way I know how, and that's sharing my philosophy and my perspectives on reality and existence and what I've come to see and know and what I've studied. All right, we'll do another video and I'll explain more. All right, yeah. That's out. Peace.